So let me please introduce the co-founder of this organization, the guy that went on a little walk because he wanted to go to Army-Navy game. Rock solid, Mr. Mike Viti.
Good evening. So I want to put a little bit of context into Legacies Alive. For those touching the organization for the first time, for those who have been with us since the inception, I think it's important to pay a little bit of homage and put today in perspective. You go back to 2014, and certainly that was not the inauguration of Gold Star Families. I think way back to the Revolution, right? You think about the past of our nation and what we didn't do to honor our shared heroes, their sacrifices, and the fact that the American public didn't know what a Gold Star family was, right? So you have to, when you take on the onus of starting an organization with such gravity and magnitude, you have to pay respect and homage to the past. So in 2014, we had a lot of catching up to do. And the hike was always meant as a vehicle to sit down and listen to Gold Star families on their terms and what the perfect organization could potentially look like. I fast forward to the present. After nearly a decade of listening and loving and learning, you see that amongst family. You see that amongst the 30 Gold Star families here, veterans, supporters, loved ones who elect to volunteer their 4th of July weekend to continuously honor our nation's heroes and certainly pay respect in the most humble way to our nation's Gold Star families. I unfortunately fast forward to the future present. There are Gold Star families, there are current service members who are going to join our ranks. The unintended consequence of 20 years of war produces a lot of psychological effects, and the nature of our country and what we must do, what we have to do to preserve our freedoms and liberties require us to do very dangerous things on the behalf of the American public. We want them, if there's a Gold Star family here for the first time, to feel our genuine love, our compassion, the understanding that we can have, but certainly we want to honor their heroes in the most eloquent way possible. That's the future present of Legacies Alive. And the final part of the scope of Legacies is our future. I look to every person here as part of that future. I look to everybody who has given a moment or a dollar or an idea or just part of themselves as the future fabric of this organization. The utopia for this organization for me was always that it was an organization delivered by Gold Star families to veterans who can do and who want to continuously serve while involving the American public to allow them to assist. Understanding that there's no possible way to ever bring back their loved ones, but we ultimately become family through these trials and tribulations. So that's content for me. Just so everybody understands, if you're touching the organization for the first time, that's scope. Content. I want everybody, you don't have to look down right now, but at least a glimmer of time, take a look at our logo. And I want to give you the foundation of that logo and what I see every time I see that logo. And I want you to feel something from here on out when you see that logo. There's somebody who's not a part of that logo, and that's the survivors. They are sitting in the most unwelcomed, unwanted seat in the universe. They are accepting a folded American flag on behalf of the sacrifice that they're going to have to endure the rest of their lives. And as you look at our logos, that's to the right. That is always there. For those who have invested in the organization, you know those as our Gold Star families, and to me, an extension of the heroes and their legacies. We get to enjoy them and love them and respect them and honor them, with events like this, with events like the Mountain Man March, with events like the Windy 2.5, with events like Army Navy. But that is a continuous, to me, obligation that we have as veterans and supporters of this organization. The Gold Star flag, the exchange, that is our heroes. To me, that is every single hero this organization represents, whether they are participative or they are about to be a Gold Star on a flag, and that's my heroes. That's my brothers and sisters in arms who've done a lot of very, very hard things on behalf of this country, and I forever look at that as the exchange and the promise to our Gold Star families. The veteran, the service member kneeling, handing that flag, that survivor, soldier, midshipman, name it, handing that flag over. That is an impossible job. That job does not stop after 3 months, 6 months. That is a forever obligation. And to me, for the veterans who find themselves a part of Legacies Alive, that is an extension of our duties to our brothers and sisters in arms to continue to carry out their legacies, but more importantly, take care of their families. The same way that if we were taken from this earth, we would want our families and loved ones to be taken care of. And then finally, and in no order of precedence, behind that icon, that behind that Legacies Alive logo is our supporters. There should be nobody who comes in contact with Legacies Alive who doesn't feel that their impact, their time, their perspective, their reason for being a part of our family and our organization should not feel the same linear strength. I see that every time I look at our logo. I have the perspective of enjoying Legacies Alive since 2014, but understand that the scope and content goes way behind one individual. I could have never imagined nearly a decade ago that Legacies Alive would become part of my family, would become part of where I invite my mother and father and my wife and my sister and brother-in-law and nieces and nephew. I would never thought that. I thought it was an individual journey, and what Gold Star families and the gift from my continuous and forever heroes have taught me, that their family doesn't have to be the same last name, family doesn't have to be the same blood, right? It's content and its scope at which you arrive at and continue to live forward with the past into the present, the future, present, and the future. I graciously and humbly thank everybody who has been a part of Legacies Alive. For me, it's partly life's work, but it's also the grand agenda on why we're together. I love everybody here in different ways, and I'm honored to be a co-founder of Legacies Alive, and I hope everybody has a prosperous, loving, safe 4th of July weekend to their legacies.
Good legacy.